So, hi, on Friday Permaculture Vibes, watch, learn, and grow. And yeah, I hope you will join us. And today I will be talking about a vegetable garden because it's time to start with vegetable garden in this year. You can definitely grow parsley, spinach, carrots, onions already. Now we are doing preparation our garden beds, and we already started some sowing. And I will show you my project, which I have done. And during this project, we will talk about some tips, how to design the garden, how to make it more official, how to just enjoy the gardening and make not only get not only food but also some flowers from the garden and also some other benefits, like usually we do in permaculture when everything is like all the elements of permaculture design has several functions. So if we will talk about vegetable garden, it's the same. A vegetable garden has several functions for us. Yeah, so let's start with presentation. Yeah. This vegetable garden was made for customers, and the idea was to create the garden close close to the house, and have some fresh vegetables, not for for winter or just for a summer season. Yeah. And the main task was create a productive system next to the house, as I already said. And it was difficult area for making vegetable garden, because there was affected by construction, followed by terracing and leveling. So the soil was not really good, I could say. The soil was difficult to work with, and and I will show you um, how we did it. So here you can see the sketch about garden beds. And when you make a garden, you need to make garden beds and pathways. It's easy because you don't need to do weeding in where you have pathway. You can put wood chips or stones, or to make it nice to step on, and it will be covered, so you will not do weeding here. And on the garden beds, you need to create the condition when the plants is so close to each other, so you also can do less weeding, because you just have lots of plants, lots of flowers there, but not the weeds. And of course, some weeds is very useful in the garden, and some of them is edible also. So I can say we could have some weeds and we can use them also in the garden, or for food or some other functions. And let's go next. Yeah, as I said, the soil was mixed and compacted, and that's why we started to put organic matter, mycorrhiza, and compost. The purpose was to make a garden this year so they can have some vegetables. And of course, you can use more slow solution and use siderates first year, and then grow vegetables afterwards. But here we decided to grow vegetables right away, so that's why some improvement was needed with the soil. As you see, I think you can see that we have beds and we have pathways between the beds. So it's important to have some place for to step on, to place for wheelbarrow, and even just to put a bucket or so on. Yeah. Next slide. And there was some places where we just choose to sow siderates because it was too compacted and too poor and too bad, this soil. So on some places we also use just plants which helps to develop, like to make soil more soft, more good, and prepare soil actually for the vegetables. And we use mustard, oats, and winter veg for this. And also we have some fencing around the garden because the owners of the plot, they have ducks and dogs, and that's why we decided to like to have some protection from them. And the protection will be like natural. It's from like local materials, and it's just from wood, from from branches. Yeah. Yeah, and the main idea in the garden to have mix of the plants, because it's how we can protect and make our plants healthy and protect them from their pets. Um, so you can see, like, you can even couldn't understand what is here. And you can see flowers, you can see pepper, you can see squash also here. And we used on this project, we use drip irrigation with remote control because the owners were not always present on the site. So it worked good. They can control the moisture in the soil just from their phone. And it was first project with this, high tech, I would say. But I think it works good when you couldn't be present all the time, because sometimes in Ukraine it's really dry, and plants needs water at least once a week, sometimes even twice a week. Yeah. As I said, we use the method of mixed planting, where the plants protect and support each other. And it's really important when you want to have less work and when you want to use less, like some chemicals in the garden, but and actually it's less efforts to support the plants, so they can kind of support each other and grow healthy. Yeah, and since most of the pets find their plants by smell, our task is to hide it among others. So we created companions of the plants. Yeah, and what do you need to think about when you create this mix with the plants? There is an allelopathy. It means that some plants grow good together, and some plants they affect bad way on each other. So they it's better to not have them together. Type of root system, because some plants has deep roots, some superficial, and we need to to combine deep with superficial, so they can kind of different levels of the feeding, let's say. Relation to moisture. For some plants, it's important. For example, when you combine, it's really good combination carrots and onions, or carrots and garlic, for example. But sometimes when we mix them, carrots needs water, and onions, they don't need water already, because if you water them, they will be rooted, or like you just don't need it for them. So we need to think also about it. Relation to light, if it's a small plant with big plant, we need to think if it's okay to to have some shadow on top. For example, for cucumbers, for parsley, it's okay to have some part light, or like not like full light, but for tomatoes, for example, it's not possible to grow like this. And also harvesting period. When you harvest one crop early and another crop is still growing, you can damage the roots, or you can just damage the plants which are close to each other. So we need to think about it also. And the next slide will be about companion of plants. In the internet, you can always find these tables about which is good, which is bad to put together. And the green cells means that it's good combination. Yes. Yeah, and the red one means that it's not really good. And if you cannot find any signs, it just means that nobody is learned if it's good combination or not. Yeah. Yeah, and there is some other options like good for the garden general. Yeah, combination helps pets and bug control and so on. So you can easily find it, and then when you have this information, you can make a good combination for your garden. Depends of what do you grow and what can you mix together. For example, I can share what I use in the garden, and it will be my combination of the plants, but they work good. As I already said, it's carrot, onions, garlic, and also radishes, because carrots needs about 3 weeks to start sprouting, and usually it's really difficult in the garden to find them when the weeds are growing and the carrots are still in the soil. So usually we put radishes rarely on the same row with carrots. So you can just see where is the rows with carrots actually is. Yeah, and the next combination will be potato and cabbages. It's the main crops. And then you mix it with flax, beans, and marigolds. Why? Because potato has smell and cabbage has smell, and they kind of hide each other from the pets. And also the same goes with flax. Flax has smell, and it's kind of confused the pets. And beans, it's a nitrogen fixer, so we can help potatoes and cabbages to grow. And marigolds helps also for cabbage to not have so many pets. Yeah, tomatoes and carrots and basil. Uh, they also good together. They are also good together. I would say that tomatoes has a special taste with basil, like in the salad. This is like tomatoes and basil, good combination in the salad and also on the garden beds. And cucumbers, radish, corn, coriander, and cosmos. The main crops will be cucumbers and corn, and just some add-ins. When the cucumbers are small, we have a lots of space around them, so we can grow radishes at that time. And then if you have corn, it could be a little bit of shadow for the cucumbers, which are okay with this. And flowers like coriander and cosmos, they can attract lots of pollinators, which is good for cucumbers. And yeah, which is good for cucumbers, actually. Yeah, and you can see here the garden. You saw the picture like the beginning of the garden, and this is the picture of like the end of the summer. And it's difficult to understand what is growing there. There are pepper, and there are some cabbages, there are some tomatoes, but everything is hidden with and there are some kale also and amaranth. You can see the red leaves of amaranth. Yeah, but you cannot, okay, and celery also. But you cannot really see them because everything is kind of hidden and mixed with flowers and yeah, and just siderates. And it is how we create this mixed garden. Sometimes for people it's difficult to find something in this garden, but also it's difficult for pets to find their crop. So yeah, so it's how it could look like. And I would recommend you also to grow siderates. What does it mean, siderates? The crops which we use to improve the soil, to have more nitrogen in the soil, to just to rotate other plants. Yeah, and I would recommend you to use siderates, and also rotate crops. And I have some crops, some ideas which crops it could be to grow like 2-3 times, or like for example, you took the garlic and then you can have peas at the same place. You can sow dill, or you can sow some salads and radishes, like even in the summertime, and then you will have them in the autumn. Yeah, so the idea to keep the soil, to keep the ground covered all the time, never bare, because it's bad for the microorganism which lives in the soil. It's bad for the like worms and everything, like bad for the life in the soil, basically. So that's why it could be some crops, or it could be mulch if you cannot cover it with some crops. And here you can see the autumn season in the same place in the garden. Yeah, and there are still some flowers. There are kale, arugula, and edible chrysanthemum. So you can see that there's still some life here. And the beds, they are prepared for winter. As I said, the idea to keep them covered, no open and naked soil. So we put compost, and then we covered it with straw. And it's how you can, for example, no, not with compost, actually, with manure. And it's how you can, like, I like the idea to put manure on top of the soil, not inside of the soil, but in autumn. And then it could like soak in the soil during this winter time, and then you can get like good soil. It's more natural process. It's how it works in the nature. For example, some animals, they go and poop, and they leave some fertilizing on the soil, so nobody dig it into the soil. And we also can use it on the beds. You just put it in the autumn, and then you can use this soil in the springtime. Yeah. Yeah. So basically, it's all for today. What I wanted to say, I think I will repeat the main thing, that you need to mix the plants all together. You need to keep soil covered, and you need to design, like the first thing, you need to design your garden beds and pathways between them, so it will be easy. And also you need to know in advance which crops will you plant together. It's easy then. So you need to start with actually making this combination, learning about good companions and making this combination in your garden, and then you can like do gardening, basically. Yeah, so I wish you a good season, this spring season. Yeah, it's, as I said, it's time to start working with garden beds, to prepare them to sow some crops. And yes, see you next Friday and have a good weekends.